Today we will discuss about properties of refrigerant. In properties of refrigerant there are mainly three types of properties: thermal, chemical and physical properties. And under these properties there are various type of properties which we will discuss in this lecture. So let's we start from the thermal properties. First one is our thermal properties. In this is critical temperature, specific heat, enthalpy of vaporization, conductivity, evaporator and condenser pressure, compression ratio, freezing point. All these properties come under the thermal properties. And in chemical properties, toxicity, flammability, action with oil, action with material of construction, all these properties come under chemical properties. And in physical properties, cost, viscosity, leak detection, all these come under physical properties. So let's we start from thermal properties, in which first one is critical temperature. Critical temperature of the refrigerant should be as high as possible or at least above the condensing discharge temperature, because if the temperature is lower than condenser discharge temperature, then condenser will not able to transfer heat to atmosphere or the surrounding. And the temperature of CO2 and ethylene is undesirable according to Indian summer condition, because the temperature condenser discharge temperature for CO2 is 31 degrees Celsius and for ethylene is 10.2 degrees Celsius, which is less than Indian summer. So the possible temperature for water is 374 degrees Celsius, SO2 is 156.5 degrees Celsius, for NH3 132.4 degrees Celsius, for R12 is 111.5 degrees Celsius, for R22 is 96.5 degrees Celsius, and for R134 is 101.2 degrees Celsius. Next one is specific heat. Specific heat for vapor refrigerant should be as high as possible, and for liquid refrigerant should be as low as possible, because specific heat for vapor refrigerant should be as high as possible, because it limit the degree of superheat. It should as high as possible for vapor refrigerant, and for liquid refrigerant it should as low as possible, because it limit the degree of irreversibility. Degree of superheat means by enthalpy, it limit the degree of superheat means enthalpy, and degree of irreversibility means, if we take first TDS equation, then TDS is equal to dH minus VdP, because during the process pressure is constant. For evaporator, so pressure will constant, so we can write TDS is equal to dH. We can write Cp dt, then TDS is equal to Cp dt, then ds is directly proportional to Cp. If specific heat for liquid refrigerant should be as low as possible, then its irreversibility should be as low as possible. So for liquid refrigerant, the value of specific heat should be as low as possible in order to limit the degree of irreversibility. Next one is enthalpy of vaporization. Enthalpy of vaporization should be high, because if enthalpy of vaporization is high, then it reduce the size of the evaporator. Some people say it reduce the mass flow rate, but the true thing is that it decreases the size of the evaporator. Among the commonly used refrigerant, the enthalpy of vaporization highest for NH3. It is highest for water, but water is not commonly used refrigerant, because below 0 degree Celsius water freezes and it cause problem in fluidity. So for NH3 it is highest, for R22 is 234.7, for R12 is 165.7 degrees Celsius, sorry, kilojule per kg, and for R134 it is 197.3 kilojoule per kg. Because if enthalpy of vaporization, or we can say refrigeration effect, will be more, then it reduces the mass flow rate. Then mass flow rate will less, then it reduce the size of the evaporator. Next one is conductivity. Conductivity should be high, because if conductivity is high, then the area required should be less, because conductivity and area are inversely proportional. So conductivity of the liquid or refrigerant is high, because it reduces the area occupied by the evaporator. Next one is evaporator and condenser pressure. Evaporator and the condenser pressure should be positive, because if the evaporator and condenser pressure should be below atmosphere, then it causes leakage problem. So for our purpose, the condenser and evaporator pressure should be positive or above the atmosphere condition, or some moderate value we can say. Next one is compression ratio. Compression ratio should be less, because if compression ratio will high, then the work input will increase. You can see here, if the compression ratio is high, then it will increase the work input to the compressor and also reduces the volumetric efficiency, because if compression ratio should be high, then it is with negative sign, so it will high, and with negative sign, so it will reduce the volumetric efficiency. Next one is freezing point. Freezing point should be as low as possible, because if we take an example of a water, then water freezes at 0 degree Celsius and converted into ice, and hence its flow is not possible. So for commonly used refrigerant, it should be as low as possible. For R22 is minus 160.5 degree Celsius, for R12 is minus 157.4 degree Celsius, for NH3 is minus 77 degree Celsius, and for R134 it is 101.2 degree Celsius. And COP. If the COP of the refrigerant is some moderate value, then COP show what? COP show us the performance of the refrigerant or refrigerating machine. So the value of the COP for the refrigerant should be high, because it show us running cost of the machine. So for commonly used refrigerant, the value of COP is similar. Here I write three type of COP. Three type of refrigerant COP. R11 is 4.04, for NH3 it is 4.06, and for R12 is 4.12. If we talk about compressor discharge temperature, then compressor discharge temperature is highest for NH3, because the compressor of the be used for the NH3 is reciprocating type. For reciprocating type, it is for NH3 it is water cooled, and for R11 and R12 it is air cooled. So although the enthalpy of vaporization for NH3 is highest, but COP of the all refrigerant is similar values, because bulk input in reciprocating compressor is more as compared to rotatory and centrifugal compressor, or the reciprocating compressor which is we use for NH3 is water cooled, so we have to supply more bulk, so the value of COP for all these refrigerant is similar. Reciprocating compressor generate high pressure and volume flow rate is low, and it is used in case of NH3 and for CO2. Next one is rotatory and the centrifugal compressor. Pressure ratio or pressure generation is in this case low, but volume flow rate will high for rotatory and centrifugal compression, and the example is R11 and R13. So these all about the thermal properties of the refrigerant. Next one is chemical properties. First one is toxic or What about toxic? Refrigerant should not be toxic, but NH3 is toxic. Second one is flammability. Refrigerant should not be flammable, but NH3 both toxic and flammable. Third one is action with oil. There are three types of refrigerant present in our refrigeration. First one is fully miscible with oil, that is R11 and R12. Second one is fully immiscible. First one is fully miscible with oil. Second one is fully immiscible with oil, that is NH3 and CO2. And the third one is partially miscible with oil. Fully miscible and fully immiscible refrigerant should not cause any type of problem, but the partially miscible oil causes problem, because if the partially miscible refrigerant that is mixed with the oil causes problem in the condenser or in the compressor or in throttling board, because if they are not fully immiscible or fully immiscible with oil, then they can freeze into the throttling valve, because in throttling valve expansion takes place, here the pressure reduces, so it may cause problem in the condenser in the evaporator. So this problem is associated of sticking with the partially immiscible oil. To remove this problem, we use synthetic oil. In place of mineral oil, because fully miscible and fully immiscible oil does not cause or create any type of problem, but those refrigerant which are partially miscible with the oil causes problem. Example of partially miscible oil is R22, and they are causes problem. There are we use three types of method, then there is no problem associated with the partially miscible oil. First one is separator is installed between the compressor and the condenser, then it separates this liquid from to condenser pressure to compressor pressure to the condenser pressure, then it will not cause problem. If the oil is immiscible at the compressor discharge pressure and temperature, then there is no problem. Or one more thing we can do, that is we install the sensible bulb at the above and exit of the evaporator, then this partially immiscible oil will not cause any problem. There are we can use three types of method. First one is if the separator is installed at the exit of the or in between the compressor and the condenser, or second one is if they are separable at the condenser pressure and the temperature, then there is no problem. And third one, we can install sensible bulb at the exit of the evaporator. Fourth one is action with the material of construction. There are two type of, first in which they can attack or for which they are favorable. So I write two types of condition. First for NH3. NH3 attack on copper coil. So we have not to install copper coil. If we are using NH3, we have to install wrought iron coil. So it is favorable for NH3. And for NH3 and halocarbon compound, it attack on aluminium. So if we are using freon or halocarbon compound, then we have not to use the aluminium coil, we have to use copper coil because it is favorable for copper coil. So if we are using NH3, we have not to use copper coil, we have to use, or we should prefer wrought iron. If the halocarbon compound, then we have to not use aluminium coil, we should prefer copper coil. Last one is physical properties. First one, cost should be less. Obviously if cost should be less, then it is preferable for the consumer. Viscosity one important thing for the refrigerant, so viscosity should be low, because if viscosity should high, then it will cause in problem in case of flowability. So the viscosity is desirable, so it not cause problem in the flowability. Third one is leak detection. For leak detection, we can say first the refrigerant should not be leaked out, but in any condition it leak, then there are we have method to detect any type of leak. First, if the leak of freon and halocarbon compound, then we use two type of method. First one is halide torch test, second one is soap bubble method. If the leakage of the freon, then in the presence of the freon leak, the color of the light halide torch test. In case of halide torch test, the color of the light changes from blue to bluish green. And the second method of the detection of the freon is freon and halocarbon is soap bubble method. Now second one is NH3 leak. NH3 leak we detect with the help of sulfur stick method. In the presence of NH3, the white fume of the ammonium sulfide is formed. NH3 leak we detect with the help of sulfur stick method. In the presence of NH3, white fumes of ammonia sulfide is formed. And the last one is SO2 leak. SO2 leak we detect with the method of ammonia swab test. With the help of ammonia swab test, we detect the leak of the SO2. So this is about properties of the refrigerant, in which we discuss about various properties related to refrigerant. Thank you.